Well, the first face-to-face meeting, as we heard, between Presidents Trump and Putin had been highly anticipated, and the first images to surface from the meeting did get a lot of attention. This photo in particular was picked upon. Many compared it to a scene from the popular political drama series House of Cards, as Putin has almost the exact same facial expression as the fictional Kremlin boss Viktor Petrov. Well, we can talk about all this too a bit further. Darren Stanton is with us. He's a body language expert. Hello to you, Darren. Let's start with that first photo.
Good evening.
What did you make of that? President Trump extending an open palm and Putin considering whether to take him up on the offer.
Well, it's very much life imitating art almost, because, yeah, I mean, the thing about President Trump is his classic way of shaking hands is very much into dominance and power, and I think called the bone crusher handshake, as we've seen in recent summits and meetings with various politicians. The thing about this particular photograph is, as you've said, is an open palm gesture, which says that, you know, I mean you no harm, or, you know, the old meaning of that is I have no weapons. And I think there was an hesitancy from President Putin, almost like, what's is this a new strategy that I'm not aware of? You know, so I think there was like a little bit of a thought there. What shall I do?
Do you think these sort of actions as well, is this something President Trump would have thought about, you know, his handshake and how he should offer it?
I think at the end of the day, you know, earlier on your previous guest was mentioning about this kind of mutual respect that the two men have for each other, and I think in recent meetings we have seen, you know, this bone crusher sort of handshake with Mr. Trudeau and various other world leaders. So I think because the handshake from President Trump has received so much world attention, maybe on this occasion, you know, President Trump has got mutual respect for President Putin, and it's just about getting on with the job and kind of building that deep rapport.
OK, well, look, let's go to the family photo, which has also attracted a lot of attention. There it is. You can see it on your screens. The big difference here than 3 years ago, Putin very much in a central place there, isn't he, amongst that family photo, compared to 3 years ago, pretty much when he was on the end. Does that show he's in more favour now?
I think so. I mean, I'm not sure if there's some sort of protocol in terms of where people are placed, you know, and that may change over time. But, yeah, potentially it may be a personal request from himself or his advisors that he wants to be more front and central within that photograph, as he's playing, obviously, a very important role in world events. So, yeah, potentially the more central he gets, potentially the more powerful he may appear in that photo.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much he had to jostle to get that central position. But you're right, it is down to protocol. And I think the protocol is the new arrivals to the world stage, if you like, do stand on the end. And we've seen Trump on the end there. But the interesting thing is the reaction from Emmanuel Macron too. He's a new leader. He has to appear on the end. But what did you make of his interaction when he tried to stand next to Trump?
Again, I think President Macron's a man that's very comfortable in his own skin, and he doesn't really give too much away. I didn't kind of see too much of President Macron in terms of any tells or gestures. But again, I just think, you know, for him, he's not so much into playing sort of power games or mind games. He's very much a man that's, you know, what you see is what you get, really. Yeah,
I mean, and I can describe to you there, Darren, what he did. He effectively came down the stage and then he sort of patted either shoulder of President Trump. You wouldn't do that if you weren't confident, presumably.
Absolutely, because any gesture to do with patting or patting the back, it's called a power pat in body language. So it's essentially, we've seen other world leaders in the past where they've guided people through the door. You know, I think there was some famous footage a while back with President Clinton many years ago, when there was almost like a dance with other world leaders that, you know, they realised the first one through the door was seen as the weaker man. So any gesture where we pat somebody on the back or the shoulder or the arm is very much seen as the fact that, yes, they are confident, and it's almost saying you're weaker than me.
Yeah, we're just seeing another picture there of Trump and Merkel. Trump actually doing that very act to Angela Merkel. Now, at the end of the family photo, they all dispersed, but there was an interesting moment too, because Angela Merkel seemed to backtrack slightly to try and have another word with President Putin. Did you see that? And what did you make of it? What can we read into that?
I've actually not seen that clip, to be honest, so I can't really comment on that particular clip.
OK, but if the scene was, we've got two world leaders, right? They're all leaving the stage. Merkel is a couple of metres ahead, but she takes the time to stop, to turn back and to go back and then walk alongside President Putin as they left the room. That's what happened. I mean, is that just being friendly or is it something else going on?
Yeah, I think it's more to do with etiquette, really. So it's almost like, you know, when someone visits your home, you know, it's sort of you see them out of your home or guide them in. So maybe that was just potentially to make him feel welcome, and also just out of social etiquette. I think that's probably what that gesture was all about.
Is there anything else that caught your eye today, Darren? It's fascinating, isn't it, talking about people's body language and what it might mean?
It is. I mean, there was Absolutely. There was an interesting interaction between President Putin and Trump. I think they were sat around a table, and again, they shake hands, but this time we noticed President Trump sort of pat President Putin under the arm, which was quite an odd gesture, but that, again, is a power gesture to almost say that, you know, we're here, but I'm still the powerful man. You know, I'm still the head honcho, so to speak. So I think, you know, although I think the two men have got mutual respect for each other, you know, I think this little, what we call leakage, these little leakage gestures that I see between the two men, especially from President Trump, that he still wants to be seen as very much the, you know, the top man. And also, I saw some footage where both men obviously sat side by side. President Trump has got this, what we call a reverse steeple gesture with the hands, and that's again confidence and dominance. And then we also see President Putin with his legs sort of quite spread apart, and again that is a very classic dominance gesture. So both men have been very careful to be seen by the world's media as being very powerful. Yeah,
I think they both had their legs splayed actually in one photo too. Battle of the legs. OK, Darren, pleasure to talk to you. We'll leave it there. Darren Stanton, body language expert.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you.